Looks like we got a new friend!
Welcome to the Scratticus Academy. It is Dynama Day, and I've been excited for this probably since we stopped playing last week. So I'm going to run through a couple of things, and then we will jump straight into it. So first of all, we have a Discord. It's full of really lovely people like you see here, so hop over there. And we also have a individual chat room for each campaign, so there is a Dynama one if you want to hop over there. If you want to get into a game, we run 5 viewer games, though I do need to check with Scrat actually how available they are, because we might be booked out. They're all full, as he whispers in my ear. So I'm afraid all the viewer games are full. However, we are starting to plan for season 3, so don't stop emailing. Also YouTube, if you didn't see the I'm sorry, Scrat is so off-putting in the backstage area. If you haven't seen the episodes before this, go and check out YouTube and find the Dynama playlist. If you would like to support us, we do have a Patreon which you can go check out, and there's also some very lovely free articles on there by our lovely Renee. Look at her pretty face. There we go check her out. And also we have merch, which you can find via Redbubble, where Scrat says, get that crest on your chest. So yeah, also we have some very fabulous sponsors, one of them in the form of Bird in the Storm, who you can see all their merch in the chat as well, and they also write up mainly D&D, 5e and other sort of modules, which are really awesome. We also are sponsored by the lovely Mage Hand Press, who created the Dark Matter Alpha document, which you can see in tomorrow's game. in completely legitimate business, which is D&D in space, basically, and it's awesome. Other than that, in this game, you can donate either trinkets, but also each individual player has like a signature move, and we've only seen 2 of them so far. But also at 10 retweets, we also have a trinket and every 4 followers. And now I'm going to be quiet and hand over to Renee. Renee. You're muted, Renee.
It wasn't unmuting. Hello, hi, I'm Renee, and I have a very loud dog tonight who's very unhappy for reasons that she will not tell me in English, unfortunately, and so I do not understand. So I may be muting on and off. Hi, tonight we are playing Weave. I love this game. It's very accessible and intuitive for me, and because this is my first campaign as a GM, I'm having a blast with it because it is... Don't start. Hi. This is a card-based RPG. The cards inform the theme, location, and the boss of each episode, as well as the characters. So I'm going to allow us to go around so everyone can say who you're playing and what suite you're playing, and I swear I can mute myself for a little bit. So Alice, would you go first?
Hi, I'm Alice, I'm White Rabbit Pick, and I'm playing Umako, who is, I believe, the Gale's character. And she has a stag called Brun, which I think Kelly's character went on a little bit of a ride with at the end of the last episode. So, whilst Renee deals with the dog, we will hop round to our lovely Fen of the group.
Hello. I'm so amused by all of our naughty pets tonight. So I'm Julie. I play Fen, who is our stone suit character. And they've had a rough time, but so far I've been able to have some time to like heal and chill, and that is important. So I am not sure where we're starting out tonight as far as time-wise, but I'm excited to see where we go from here.
Great. Kelly, can you go next?
Hi, I'm Kelly. I play Skylar, who is our Flames character. Last week, I believe we ended with Skylar falling off the back of Brund after Umiko sent them riding off into the sunset. And Skylar is kind of our group healer, and apparently now Dynama training master? I don't know. We'll find out today.
And last but not least, Jay.
Hi, I'm Jay, and I'll be playing Sierra, who is our Brooks character. And she is excited to be known for saving the world from machines with the help of her new team and her new Dynama instructor. So this should be fun.
This is so fun. For those suits that everyone mentioned, each of the dice has a different symbol on it. We've kind of translated those symbols into the Roll20. And we've already started out with 10 retweets, so we will be getting a trinket, which, like, heck yes, y'all are awesome. Please keep retweeting. We love this game, and we hope you love it too. And thank you, Michael Wayne, for the cheer, so that Kelly gets more dice. You get a single reroll of a die for whatever roll you want. It could be a failure, it could be a success, but you could try and make it an epic success. So, the way this game kind of works is that these characters are based off of the cards and the choices that each of the players have made, and then I structure the story based off of the cards that I draw, including challenges that each of the players needs to overcome. So we've kind of translated the 6-sided die There's also a weave symbol and a strike symbol into Roll20, and are having a lot of fun with it. Last time, things got pretty emotional, and we ended up seeing another signature move of one of the characters from Skylar, who used her signature move to affect strong magic in the Dynama to show everyone a glimpse of their home, where it's currently at, how machines have affected it in time. And those signature moves can be donated to any of the players for £10, and each player has gotten has a signature move, but only 2 of them have been revealed so far. And then I'm holding one up my sleeve as well for the frog donation last week. So yeah, let's hop right back in. It's been about a week. We were gonna do a little bit of a time skip last week, but we had enough to deal with right from the get-go. But you have been spending time in this encampment near the decay, and a few hours away from a small town to the south of here called Norton Hills. And it's been less eventful since the first night you arrived, when you were attacked by a large mech with a rider who seemed to be affected by the decay. But because Fen and Umiko were still too wounded, and Mare as well, to really continue with your newfound determination to save the world, you've had to kind of stall your plans and stay here for a little bit longer. With that said, how have you spent your week? I think we'll start with Fen because they might be the most obvious, but it's been about a week. Fen, where are you at? How are you feeling? How are things going for you?
I think they're still very bruised and sore, but I think by this point they've been able to get up and at least take walks around. Once cleared for getting up, they were going a little stir crazy, and so I don't recall if it's very woodsy around this town. Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of the cabins are actually built into the trees.
Gotcha. Yes, I remember. I was picturing it like those giant redwood trees, but then with other stuff built onto it. Very cool. Okay. So yeah, definitely taking walks just nearby, not very far, getting kind of longer in duration as to build up their strength again. And definitely had to do some maintenance on their arm and probably the armor. Mostly just picking up more pieces to just kind of add to it, replace any parts that were torn or blown off, whatever. And they're not in top shape, but I feel like they could maybe do some investigating at least and not slow people down so much.
Yeah, and actually the people of the encampment have been very helpful where replacing parts in your arms are concerned. They've actually been they're awaiting some of their more nomadic members who travel with a group of traders. And so as they kind of prepare for this group to come visit the encampment, they've been gathering all of the things that they have harvested or found in the nearby ruins, including what game are we playing?
They're mechanical monsters.
They are mechanical monsters. They are those beastly robots. Yeah, they have robot parts, and they've been kind of collecting some of those from mechs that they've taken down on patrols. And so they also have clothing, which Sierra and Skylar got some new clothes last time from similarly that they have kind of collected from the nearby ruins, as well as a number of trinkets and herbs and other things of the sort that they are preparing for trade. So they're more than happy to help you kind of find the supplies that you need to do the fixing up, and happy to do it free of charge, because you quite literally took the worst of the explosion that plagued this little encampment on the night of your first arrival here.
A warm welcome. Too warm.
Yes, indeed.
I think during the little walking excursions, I think I tried kind of listening in to see if the trees had anything to say.
Yeah. So, as you kind of walk through this forested area, you hear some of those old familiar whispers that you have heard so many times before. And they whisper something you've heard before. They're coming. They're coming closer. It's spreading. It's spreading closer.
I feel like this isn't something that they ever got a response if they asked direct questions to. It was just kind of a like, what do you have to say today?
Yeah, the trees say what they want to say. They're not usually open to suggestions. Maybe they don't speak your language, but you somehow understand theirs. And Finn has heard these whispers for a very long time. But this warning sounds similar to one that Finn heard a few days ago now, about a week ago, when they took down a machine near the town of Mellowary. How has Umiko been spending this week?
Umiko has been a bit like Fen, wandering out into the woods, but not the woods. She's just looking for that river again. She's looking for any form of water source and sort of backing away if there's any geese that are sort of like near the edge or anything. And once she finds a spot, she will sit in that river again. Her leg still hurts, so she uses it to uses the water to lower her down and lift her back up. And after her conversation with Skylar, she takes a stick and starts to draw in the mud. Almost just simple things. She's not very good at it. But things that have happened over the last few days, over the last week, and she draws her house and her reindeer, just trying to remember everything and making sure she does. She'll take Bryn with her every single time, and she will spend most of the days there. If she sees Fen out, she can't help but follow them a little bit and look, and then probably go back if it strays too far from the river, but she stays outdoors more than anything.
How is she feeling by the end of the week? Her leg has been set, and Skylar has taken good care of it this entire time, as she also took good care of Fen when and since she was wounded in the battle with the bear-like mech. How's Umiko feeling?
She's got itchy feet. She wants to get moving. She's not too sure why, but she's she keeps trying to find a different spot each time, sticks to the river, maybe goes a little bit further every day, but... And again, she'll always watch her companions. She's not very good at talking, but that's her way of being aware, and they're there and being a part of them, even if she just sits in the evening and watches them.
Thank you, Sam, for that reroll for Kelly. We appreciate it, and we appreciate the love. Yeah, Umiko has the spot that she's found is the stream that she found last episode connects at some point to a larger river. And since she was able to follow that, she's found this place where it is flowing and it is serene. And sure, Fen does pass by occasionally, and sure, you are able to watch your companions at night, and they know. They knew. They saw how you felt after you looked through the window of the Dynama into your home. And oh, thank you so much, Rock, for the reroll. I don't feel left out. I so appreciate it. That's awesome. That's actually really awesome. So I have some NPCs who also have signature moves. I've never talked about that before, but they do. So I appreciate that. And you find that everyone's kind of generally knows where you're at. And
if anyone walks past her, or if Fen's like on their walk, she's just literally sat in the river, probably to get as deep as she can, but she just sits there.
I think Fen came and sat with her a couple times. No need to talk, just company.
Yeah, and she's just moving her hands. You can see that she's making. If the water goes too still in like a pond, she just every now and then just makes a ripple in the water.
The first day that a patrol passed by, they did show some concern for you. A couple of them from the encampment, they head out and they kind of go a different direction every day, just making sure that everything is good in all ways. And a group of about 3 came by. You didn't recognize any of them. Bastion wasn't among them, but you did know some of their faces from the first patrol that you encountered that brought you here in the first place. And they kind of stop for a second, and one at the front, she steps forward and says, Umiko, is it?
Yes, that is my name.
Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fantastic. And she even just like pats the water a little bit, either like a child would, like either side of her. Why are you not?
Oh, no, I'm okay. I just, well, we were told to be hospitable.
Oh, you are. And like that, but you see that frog like going around the water, just circling her.
She kind of like takes a deep breath and nods, and she seems a little bit unsure of like exactly how to respond, but at some point after seeing you kind of splash in the water and seeing this frog swim around, she kind of slowly nods and then gestures to the rest of the group, and they head back into the forest. And then in future, they tend to smile at you or nod at you as they pass, but they don't bother you from there on out. Sierra.
That's me.
How have you spent your week?
So, Sierra has definitely made getting back to work a priority. She's a working woman, and she has made sure that everyone in town has had their fortune read at least once. She's been whipping out the tarot cards and been making people feel real good. Like real good, you know, like it's probably lifted the morale of the town altogether. You know, just like imagine Oprah just like showing up one day and personally knocking on everyone's door. That's what's happening in this little
Do you
encampment.
personally knock on everyone's door?
Yeah. Yeah.
She
Okay.
needs them to know who she is.
Okay, I'm gonna have you do two things for the scene. The first one is I'm going to have you roll a charisma challenge of 2. You can use whatever talents you deem necessary. I'm sorry, I said a charisma challenge. I meant to say a Brooks challenge. The Brooks challenge is, of course, the charisma base. But this will be kind of like a general ruling to see how this goes for you. Yeah, any talents or backgrounds you'd like to include? can
Oh,
help raise your
certainly.
dice pool.
Certainly. So first of all, I'm going to use my keen sight so when I touch someone, I see a glimpse of their past or present or future.
Yep.
I'm going to use my spirit of fire that heats my body, because that's part of like my tactic that I use. Like I make people feel like warm and embraced when I touch them, and it makes them feel magical. Can I do that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's warm body. Then that's settled. You know your stuff. People view you as an authority and are willing to believe what you state as fact.
Okay.
And also so before I named this the wrong talent, it was warm body for the warm skin. Can I also use spirit of fire to have the glowing skin? So that way it's like, ooh, crazy, bright, beautiful.
Yeah, I think that maybe that is not going to count towards your charisma in this as much as the warm body does. I think that is like kind of a comforting thing, but
yeah. Okay, gotcha.
The glowing can be comforting, and it can also be very strange. Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, is that that's
yeah? I think that's good.
Plus, you're a Brooks character.
So 4, so 7.
So 7.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, so what we were looking for are 2s and 6s. If you could just re-roll that 6 really quickly for just to see what you end up with. 2s is our coordination for the Brooks. Okay. So this is a failure.
Yeah.
Would you like to use a reroll?
I would definitely like to use a reroll. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Do I reroll that reroll?
I think, okay, so first of all, do you know if you have a reroll currently?
I do have a reroll currently.
Okay, so I think that the reroll is you reroll the full set.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's nice.
Yes.
I like that. Okay.
So 2s or 6s. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and reroll that 6 too, please.
I'm rolling a lot of die tonight.
You are rolling a lot, yes. Okay,
Or
so
dice.
not quite an epic success, but solidly in that success mark. So
Cool.
how this kind of looks for Sierra is as she begins to go around, it starts with a few people who don't know who she is and what she does. But by about the 3rd door she knocks on, she actually sees Naomi, who you recognize because she was giving some of the herbs to Skylar and actually helped out that first night. And she opens the door and she says, "Oh, Sierra, hi.
Hello, Naomi.
How can I help you?
The question you should be asking is, how can I help you? You
How
see,
can you help me?
I'm sure you've heard. I've been making my way around town, telling people their fortunes. It's something I'm quite good at, and people find that when they speak to me, they end up walking away feeling much better about their prospects in life. So I just figured I should make my rounds and stop by you as well.
You're a fortune teller?
Only the best. They call me the Soul Whisperer. You've probably heard
Oh, no
of
way.
the Soul Whisperer before.
I have.
Oh, have you? That's wonderful. That's great to hear. That's great to hear.
No, my sister-in-law is a huge fan of yours, actually. Her
I
and
have many
I
fans.
think her husband too. My brother is as well. That is so unbelievable. Yeah, I haven't been to a town or a city in so long. I mean, I got up here and I didn't realize you would ever find your way up here either.
Oh, it was not intentional. But here we are. So got to make the most when life gives you lemons, you know what they say.
That is so incredible.
But even when I'm not in town, you can stay up to date on my activities if you subscribe to my newsletter. You should tell
A newsletter? How does that work?
Oh, it's my valet travels on my behalf, delivering news.
Delivers news to everyone who signs up for this newsletter? Wow.
Yes, on my latest and greatest achievements in this wonderful world we live in.
Wow, that is amazing. But well, I have a lot of things. Yes, I would love a fortune. I would love for you to help me. That sounds amazing. Also, I think that my sister-in-law may be coming with the group of traders this week.
That is wonderful news.
Maybe we could coordinate some sort of surprise or like an autograph, or she could meet you personally. That would be amazing. I don't know how that would work exactly, but I'm sure she would just love that.
That does sound lovely, but my team and I, we have intentions of going and saving the world. So I'm not exactly sure if that will fit into our agenda for the week, but I'll do what I can.
Okay,
for a price, of course.
Yes. Well, then how about maybe I could buy an autograph from you for like Oh, I think I have something around here, like a portrait of her that I could include in like maybe like a gift for her if you can't see her.
That sounds lovely. I'm sure she'll love it.
How much would that be?
Well, the going rate is I mean, with the family discount,
Oh, you don't have to, but thank you.
Yeah, it's a mere I don't know how currency works in this world.
Yeah, that's okay. I think that what kind of price range are you going for here? If you say like dollars, I could make a kind of a comparison.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we could do a barter.
Oh,
because she has lots of like herbs and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're traveling, so maybe she can like give us rations before we trade rations. Like, so she'll give us before we leave on our adventure. Also, bye doggy. It was nice having you around.
Was it though? He was actually really sweet there at the end, but
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going to bed. She's a little old lady. Okay, sorry. Herbs and rations and,
Yeah.
and things for the road. Yeah.
Yeah.
She kind of nods and she says, "Sure, I could I'll take a couple of days to get back to you. And I can kind of collect that, and then maybe if you could swing by before you leave, and I'll try and have something together for you so that you could sign that for her."
Oh yes, of course. Aren't you, darling? Okay.
Thank you.
Now,
That's so awesome.
yes, it's very awesome. Awesome. I'm cool. I'm a cool woman. I'm a cool hip woman. It's radical. I've heard the kids saying that phrase on the road.
Right. Radical. I've totally heard that one too.
Wait.
Oh. Yeah. And she just seems like very like flustered and excited, and from that moment on you do realize that more and more people seem to be accepting of you. They're talking about the things that you've done for those first few people that you interacted with, and then they're also just now talking about who you are, because someone has connected you to the world outside of their little encampment, and they've realized that you are someone there, and that's exciting to them, that someone like you found your way up here somehow.
I couldn't be happier. This is what it's for. These are the moments that I live for. I love to be around my fans more than anything else. So.
Oh yes, they are just all loving that by the end of the week. Does Sierra have any like catchphrases or something? I don't know, anything that her supporters say?
Of course, they all she whispers to the soul better than your first love. That's what they say. She whispers to your soul better than your first love. Very catchy tagline.
I mean, you can
He
walk
has
by in the
merch.
marketplace and you hear one person over telling another, "Haven't you heard? She whispers to your soul better than your first love." And like, just, no, really? That is incredible. I can't wait to meet her. And just like that sort of hype for Sierra as she wanders through this encampment. And soon,
You can buy my merch on Redbubble.
I mean, there are a couple of there are several dozen people who live in this encampment, and all of them have pretty much adopted Sierra from here. A couple are skeptical or are just not interested, but for the most part, she has gained quite a following in this little camp. Skylar. Oh.
Quick question before.
Yes.
I'd also at some point just like to touch Naomi. Just like if I get anything juicy from her past, present, or future.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Matt Hoadley, for donating 10 bits. We so appreciate it. That's awesome. We feel the cheers. We feel the love. Subscribe to Sierra. She whispers to your soul better than your first love. Yeah, so you touched Naomi. And also, hey, Hawkeye, thank you so much for a reroll for Sierra. That is perfect.
Thank you.
She's got those followers and fans she's got to keep happy, so that'll be good to have in the future. You touched Naomi's hand. And it's been a while since you've seen something that isn't obviously the past, because it is generally hard for you to distinguish when exactly in the timeline that someone experiences something. And when you see Naomi, she is... It's similar to the last time you touched Skylar. And since your experience a few days earlier with seeing a rather long vision of what seemed to be the future, though not exact, it was a almost interpretation of the future, and you saw many parallels to real life when your friends and companions were wounded in the battle with the bear mech that attacked the camp. You see a scene instead of a snapshot like you used to. Naomi is lying on a bedroll similar to the bedrolls that you have in the cabin you've been staying in. And she coughs. She raises a hand to her mouth, and there's a handkerchief in it, and it comes away red. And you see as she pulls the arm away and slowly lets it droop back to her side, you realize that her hand is dry and cracked, scarred and scabbed. Her bones are thin, her fingers are thin as she reaches over and picks a few herbs, brews them together into a small tea, and slowly sits herself up and takes a sip. And you see people coming in through the door, crying, rushing to her. And you recognize one of them. I will send you a DM shortly. Skylar, how have you been spending your week?
You'd think I'd have a good plan for this, being last, but I'm... Anyway, oh god, dog toy. So, Skylar is, another one of the things that Skylar and Sierra have in common is Skylar is used to keeping busy. So, given how the week has been going, or given how the past few days have been going, I think Skylar would be spending a lot of time kind of talking to everyone in camp, but she's not as direct as Sierra has been. She's had a lot of practice, I think, in figuring out what people need and what might benefit them in small ways. So maybe it's healing, maybe it's some kind of comfort, maybe it's just connection with another person. And through these little interactions, she's able to kind of gain some trust, and maybe even and hopefully gain some trust in trying to find out some more information about the decay, about what's happened here recently, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. You are able to touch base with a lot of the community, in part because Sierra's popularity is growing as well, which helps with all of your group, really. It bleeds over into the rest of you. You're all becoming more and more recognized and well known. People greet you when you approach them. Are there any questions you're asking specifically?
I think she's specifically looking to see if anyone else in town has kind of come in contact with the decay and the sickness that seemed to spread from it, trying to get more information about it. she's also always on the hunt for new knowledge about the Dynama. So she's trying to see if anyone else maybe has skills like those of her companions, since she's trying to find more information to help them.
Yeah. So you are introduced to a small number of people in this encampment who are familiar with the Dynama. And there are a small number of them, but Jaden, the kid you know, is actually one of the few you are introduced to. And he explains that he has some knowledge of the Dynama, very minimal. I'm no expert, you know. I do some stuff. Sure, it's like a little bit of a magic trick, right? But like, I don't know. Your stuff is way cooler.
I mean, you have to show me what kind of magic tricks. I mean, so my friends, some of them thought they could just do like little magic tricks, and then all of a sudden we defeated a big bear beast. So, you know, little things can be big things.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, sure. And he reaches down, and as he picks up this flower that had not been there only moments before. In fact, as he reaches down, you watched it sprout and grow right before your eyes, and he picks it up and he hands it to you and says, "See? Magic trick."
That's a pretty cool magic. I mean, I'm used to magic tricks being like, "Oh, is this your card?" Not like, "Here's a flower." That's really cool.
I mean, it's just a flower. I didn't like, I pulled it from the ground instead of my sleeve, but like.
But what does it feel like when you do it? Like, do you just like decide that it's a flower? Do you like see it in the? Tell me more.
Yeah. So, do you see Dynama?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't have to explain it to you what it looks like.
No.
So many people want to know that. Like, I'm not the greatest at putting words together sometimes, and when I try to explain that it's like sparkly plus rainbows plus a mist plus everywhere, people tend to get very confused.
And then they don't usually understand why you can still like see normal things if everything looks like sparkly, misty rainbows.
Yeah, it's like, how do you see me? How do you see my face? And they're just like, do you see my nose? How many fingers am I holding up?
I totally understand all of this.
I kind of want to hug you right now.
I'd kind of be okay with it.
Okay. Jaden gives Skylar a hug and is just very, very excited to be talking about his experiences with the Dynama. And he sits down cross-legged and he starts pointing to things that you can't see. But he talks about how the nature is to some extent at his beck and call, and how as he like, it's a communication thing from his heart and his mind to the earth and to the things within it. And if the Dynama so chooses, but often it does, it provides. And so he grows another flower as he's kind of talking excitedly, and this one's a little bit bigger, a little bit more vibrant. The first one seemed to be lacking in self-confidence, and this one, its petals are just splayed widely, and it is it's beautiful. And he lifts this one and says, "See?
That's awesome, dude. Oh my goodness. This is so cool. I love finding people that understand the Dynama differently, because I don't understand it like you do. But I mean, this is incredible. Do you realize what you could do with some practice? You could start making trees.
I don't know if I could make a tree. That seems big.
I mean, you went from like Little Flower to like this guy right here in just a matter of like a few deep breaths and a chit chat.
I did?
Yeah.
I guess I did.
It's all about putting your mind to it and letting you be creative, right? Like if you think you can do it, usually you can do it. I mean, I did something the other day that maybe wasn't a very nice thing, but I mean, it was a thing that happened. And, you know, I didn't know that I could do that, but I, like, knew I could do it, right? And so it happened.
What did you do?
I helped the people that I came with. We're all from different places. We all call different places homes, and they needed to see home, and so I showed them home. I just opened up a little window.
Oh, wow. They didn't all see good things?
No. I mean, I think they all saw what they needed to see. That doesn't mean they were happy things.
How many people?
Well, Umiko, the one with the deer.
Oh, and the frog.
And the frog.
I remember the deer too. The deer is very big, but I remember the frog.
And then Fen with the arm, and then the siblings, the hurt brother, and the grumpy sister who doesn't really talk to many people.
Oh yeah, she's the one who's been going on patrols so often. And,
yeah.
And that's actually what Magda has been doing the entire time. Starting on about day 2 or 3, she started getting restless, especially since she could kind of see Mare was doing okay. And she started joining the group from the encampment for patrols out to the decay, out through the ruins, and through the woods around the encampment. And he kind of nods and he leans down and he thinks for a second and he takes a deep breath. And he grows 4 flowers, similar to the one that he gave you. And he picks them all and in a little small bouquet, he hands them over to you and says, maybe these would make him feel better.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I'll make sure that they get them.
Thanks. I heard recently that I should try and be doing things to help people and see what they need. And I've been doing my best, and I think people are liking it. But I'm gonna keep doing my best. Thank you. That, I haven't talked to anyone about the Dynama like that in a really long time.
Well,
it was nice.
I don't know how long we're gonna be here, but for as long as we're here, I'm happy to talk. I think my friends would actually be really interested too. I think we're all trying to understand it a little better, and bonus heads are always better.
Yeah. I just don't usually have many more heads than the one.
I've been there, but thank you for these. I'm gonna take them to my friends, and you just keep practicing. I think you'll be growing trees in no time.
He smiles and kind of like, ducks his head a little bit, and he parts ways with you. And one of the things that you kind of uncover from talking to others, you do hear more stories of the Dynama. There are about 2 other people in this encampment who have similar experiences but exhibit different things, and one of them can't see the Dynama at all but can interact with it, which is strange and more unusual. And it's because it's difficult to not see it but still have that effect. But it's also comparable to some of the things that your companions exhibit, where they don't see the Dynama in the same way you do, but still have properties that talents that seem to be affected by it. And you also talk about the decay. You find out that it burns the longer you're in it. You find out the rate at which it is spreading. Each week, it moves a couple of feet. And when it first started, the encampment was much farther away from it. They found it on a patrol a few months back, actually, because they'd never had gone so far before, but the longer they've watched, the closer it's gotten. The more of the land it affects, and things fall away. The buildings, the nature, it all burns. And it burns to be in too, as one member of the camp on a patrol experienced once when they first were trying to figure out what it was. Because it doesn't burn at first. You can walk into the decay and be fine for the first few minutes. And then it starts to sear. You have trouble breathing. Your skin that is affected turns scabbed and cracked. You feel weaker. The bones in your body feel brittle. And if you can get out, you could be okay. No one's ever gotten so bad that they couldn't be saved. There's one patrolman whose arm was forever scarred, and you can see still the marks on his arm. He's kind of the beefier, brawnier one that you first met at the house you'd been staying in. And his whole arm, actually. Upon closer examination, you see those cracks and those scars that have healed over time but still affect his skin.
Does it stop burning when they leave?
It does. It takes time to heal, but it's something that they have been able to heal from. Like his arm, it doesn't hurt anymore, but you can see where it hurt before.
And has Skylar seen anything like this outside of this place before?
No.
And I think that would scare her. She doesn't get thrown off by much, but she has seen a great deal of sickness and disease and just terrible things that people do. But to have something she's never seen anything akin to it before is scary, because that means she doesn't know how to fix it.
At the end of the week, Fen and Umiko are feeling better. Mare has been up and walking and never quite made it out on a patrol with Magda, but actually ended up chatting a lot with Bastion and growing closer to him. He's walking now, he's doing fine, still has a little bit of tightness in his wound, but for the most part, after the first few days of just, easing his way back into things, he's sore, but he's doing okay, and he seems to have made a lot of friends too. You actually see him hanging out with Bastion, you see him hanging out with Jaden occasionally, and he is also benefiting from Sierra's well-known name and reputation that has spread through the encampment. Oh yes, oh yes. and he's smiling a lot, despite the troubling scenes that the twins saw through the window. They seem to be dealing with it differently. Magda has a silent emotion to her as she heads out on the patrols, distracting herself and focusing on other things. And Mare has surrounded himself with people that he didn't know, but people that can help him focus on something else. And as the week begins to end, and Umiko and Fen are beginning to feel better, the realization is beginning to sink in that it's going to be time to move on. And if you're going to do this thing where you save the world, you're gonna have to figure out what the next step is. Sierra, how does that conversation start?
Gather around, everyone. Gather around. So right now, I guess we're in the cabin, and Fen, how are you holding up with your leg?
Well, better. Still some sore ribs and stuff, but I can walk around fine.
And Umiko, how are you feeling with your heart?
I'm feeling fine. You can't tell anything without touching me.
Okay. And Skylar, have you gathered any important information?
I mean, I think important is kind of relative, right? I mean, so I learned a little bit about that thing we saw, that decay place, and it is getting bigger. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be something. There's got to be a thing that's making it bigger. I mean, it's not alive. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Oh boy, that's a scary thought. Okay, sorry. Back to my focus. So it's bad, and it's getting closer, and it kills people. And I'm not just talking about like the mechs inside of it killing people. I'm talking about whatever goes in there comes out hurt if it comes out.
Is it Dynama? Mare's, has a plate of food that he brought with him from the campfires earlier that night and is still munching on as second helpings.
I'll swipe some.
I was just about to say, if Fen does it, Umiko's gonna wait till his turn.
He, when Fen does it, is like, he kind of laughs a little bit. And then when Umiko does it, he's like, come on now.
They got a bit.
Yeah, but it's my food. If you wanted second helpings, you should have gotten some.
Like, sort of Umiko mumbles to herself a little bit whilst
We're healing people.
He laughs and smiles. And kind of like protects his plate a little bit more now, like kind of hunches around it. He's like, so is it Dynama? Is it like a Dynama thing?
When Skylar saw it the first time, did it look like the Dynama in any way?
So when Skylar saw the body of the writer of the machine, she saw a lot of like kind of bright and spikiness to the Dynama, and there was a similar phenomena with the decay.
With the decay itself.
It was wrong, and it was reactive, and it was... You could still see the Dynama over it, but it was like the colors were off, which can only really mean something to you who sees the colors on a regular basis. The colors were not right. They were too bright to where they were almost painful to look at, and it felt sharp.
And she just say, I mean, it was Dynama, but it wasn't, it was like it was diseased. It was like the Dynama does things. It doesn't look like one thing. It like looks like lots of different things, and it changes and shifts and sparkles, for lack of a better term. And lets you know how it's feeling. And the Dynama there was not feeling very good.
Okay. Magda kind of chimes in. She's been very quiet and thoughtful in most of your interactions. In fact, usually she'll kind of come in at night, just go straight to bed, not really talking to anyone, maybe a few whispered words to Mare. But she kind of like... So it's something physical? Like natural? Or
Maybe.
unnatural, but like... tangible?
It's definitely like it's I mean, we can go there, we can touch it, and we can feel it, and I can feel the Dynama being wrong. It's not like it's showing up out of thin air. Which means there has to be a way to fix it. You just figure out what went wrong and fix it. But I don't know if it's like the Dynama acting up, or if somebody's done something to it. I mean, if the Dynama was acting out on its own, that would be... I don't want to think about that option.
I have a question. Now, how is the change in the Dynama and the disease that this is inflicting upon us living beings connected to the aggression that has occurred in the mechanical beasts? That doesn't seem to make sense to me. Skylar, have you noted, is there Dynama in the machines?
I mean, the Dynama's in everything. It touches everything. I don't remember really looking at the machines and seeing if the Dynama there was wrong. I'd have to see another one.
Yeah, unfortunately, the machine that you took down was so destroyed by the explosion that it might have been difficult, and the parts that could be salvaged were. The parts that could not be were just taken back to the ruins as kind of like a trash heap, basically.
If I could see the machines and see the disease at the same time, I might be able to compare if they're related or not.
Could just be
But so much was going on.
Could just be they're getting sick too.
Yeah. I don't know of anything that would affect...
Sick?
If this Dynama stuff's in everything, then I don't see why not.
Interesting.
It'd be the first time I'd ever heard of something that affected people and the machines. I wonder if the animals are affected too.
So it's like a disease. Do we know how it spreads? Can it spread outside the decay?
Well, it seems to me like the only way you get hurt, you get this disease or this. It's more like a. There's some plants that like they secrete like oils and they give you like a rash, but you have to like touch the oil to get the rash.
So if we touch someone who has the sickness, do we get it? Or do we
I
have
don't
to
know.
go-
It sounds like so far everybody has just kind of gone to the. It's only come out when they've gone to the decay, right? So they stay for a while. The longer they stay, the worse it gets. But when they leave, it starts to get better. But that's why I'm afraid about this decay thing getting bigger. Because the bigger. Yeah.
Skylar, the only person you've heard of spending a lot of time in the decay is like a matter of minutes. Like, the guy you spoke to was in there for 12 minutes tops, and only because he went far enough in when he, like, before he started feeling the burning that it took him a while to get back out.
If this thing starts to grow and takes over, there's no dodging it. It'll
Can we go look at it?
burn the world.
I don't mean touch it, I don't mean go into it, I mean... Can we look at it? Maybe see what it does. I know you see the Dynama. Safe distance, observe it, come back.
We were pretty close to there before.
Yeah, but we kind of stayed in one spot. I wonder if we circled it, if we got a better look from a different angle, maybe we could see if there was a source spot.
The patrols go out there pretty regularly, and I've been going with them the past couple of days. Maybe you could all tag along. We could find out which group is going to the decay that day, and
I think we should find the group going the farthest. I mean, if there's like a source of this thing, you'd imagine it was where it first started.
Does anyone have an idea how big it is entirely?
Well, I've seen the map picture.
Oh, so it has been mapped. Okay.
Yeah.
as far there's like a Bastion has a number of maps of the area. But it's been mapped to the extent that like the perimeter has started to be mapped. It's never been mapped all the way around.
Are any other nearby towns or villages under threat from the decay expanding?
As far as y'all have uncovered in your time here, Bastion's encampment is the closest thing to it. Now, on his maps, it has like that red marking, those like hash marks wherever the decay has been, and that kind of like edged line around it. But the line changes and has like grown and been shaded in red as well. And it is getting closer. The closest town is south of there, and it's again called Norton Hills, and it's a quaint town, and it doesn't look like the decay is anywhere near it, but because it grows a few feet every week, in a few years it could reach a village, reach a town.
But what kind of rate has it been growing at that we've been able to gather?
A few feet every week.
Don't have a lot of time.
Well, it sounds like we have some semblance of a plan, as long as we can attach ourselves to one of the patrol groups.
Yeah, I can introduce you to some of the people I've been patrolling with. That shouldn't be too hard.
Sounds like a good plan, at least a beginning of a plan. I don't think we can do much more until we know what it is, really, can we?
And we have here as a home base, you know, like we can stay here for the night, do kind of some recon tomorrow, and come back if need be to figure out what to do next. And Mare, like, talking through a full mouth of food, because he's, like, now shoveled the rest of it just in, is just like, yeah, because we're gonna have to figure out what to do after that, too.
What you said.
One thing at a time. I feel good about this. I think that we've got this under control, and as long as we all work together and we're all on the same page, I'm sure everything will go just fine.
Mari, like, holds up a fork.
Okay, well.
For now, what kind of defenses do we have here? Other than people who can fight them.
Or the camp?
The camp, in general.
Sorry, what was your other, like, what did you say after the defenses?
Oh, just, like, in general.
Oh, yeah.
Besides people that can fight off any of the machines, like, is there anything in place that helps that? Like a place they can retreat to? Like,
yeah. So the cabins themselves are all built from machine parts, which you, especially as your kind of career has been in taking down these machines, you know that that is sturdier than most anything. So they're well protected by the buildings, but aside from a small fence, no. And if you have you asked about that in the week that you've...
I think so, especially after hearing whisperings, like,
yeah,
okay, how are we going to prepare for that kind of thing?
Do talk about how they've seen more machines since they found and have mapped the spread of the decay, and how before it wasn't a problem at all. In fact, it was relatively peaceful. They saw the occasional machine out on patrol whenever they were in the old world ruins, but other than that, there was next to nothing. They were never bothered at all. In fact, they were off the beaten path enough that no regular merchants came through either, only this nomadic group that, you know, travels with traders, and that's it. They were not bothered. They were left alone until a few months back. They discovered the decay, and the machines have gotten bolder and more frequent since. The attack from the mech the other night, about a week ago now, was the first of its kind. Completely, it was the first time they'd ever been directly attacked at this camp. And so definitely in part of their preparation for the traders, they've been talking about ways that they can reinforce the camp and weapons that they could obtain. But other than that, there's nothing solidly in place.
I just got a bad feeling.
Oh, there's nothing to worry about. I have so much confidence in our team. Remember with how much ease we took down that bear mech?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you did manage to melt its face off. Which,
And-
even though you've said it 40 times, is still kind of impressive.
But we all contributed a lot in that fight. And we can all do it again. I am sure of it.
I mean, I think I just kind of got my hands stuck. I don't really know if I was really useful at all in the fight.
And Umiko had some pretty cool moves with her ball of water.
I got it a little bit soggy.
You
But-
sure did.
It worked a little bit, I guess.
Mara is like, I wasn't even there. But
Oh, we went.
Black, I was gonna say maybe I could help out next time. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry I was, wounded from the first mech fight we had.
You can't apologize for being wounded.
Okay, I'm not sorry I was wounded. I'm just sorry I missed out.
There you go. See, he's fine.
Bounce back quick. So when are we heading out?
I'm ready now.
The patrol won't leave until tomorrow morning. It's probably not the best idea to go at night. Like, I don't know that the machines are going to be particularly worse or anything, but the patrol knows the way.
Then,
Well, plus, I think we need to be able to, like, see it.
yeah. If we're not leaving till tomorrow morning, if anyone needs me, I'll be down by the river. And she stands up and just brushes herself off and walks out.
Yeah, Magda affirms that she'll like introduce y'all to the patrol group that generally goes that direction, and talk to them in the morning, kind of be like a middle person to since she's gotten to know them much better over the past few days and been eating dinner with them more often, things like that. And Mari just talks about how excited he is that they're finally doing something, because it's been killing him to like be recovering all week and be waiting for something to happen, but now it's like finally happening, and heck yeah, let's go save the world. And things start to wind down, and you can get ready for bed and prepare for the next morning, your recon mission.
He's kind of restless and goes out after him. We go after a bit, just watching around.
We sat in that again, just sat there. Probably slid down so it's up to.
Yeah, I kind of look at him and just like, she's fine. I'm just kind of watching. Almost doing like a mini patrol of my own.
Yeah. So, Fen, as you are kind of going out on your own patrol, you actually stumble across a piece of metal. It's a little bit scorched and is near the site where the explosion happened in the first place. But it's a metal rod, round and, like I said, a bit burned, a bit scorched, but broken and decently sized, about the size of your mechanical forearm. And it's heavy, but it seems to be a part of the machine that was destroyed about a week ago. It's tucked into some of the brush.
Kind of grab him, just sort of like, you know how when you like go by a fence or something and have like a twig that you're or a branch that you just kind of hit along the rungs of it, that sort of thing, but just like along the ground, swinging
it. It for sure.
Lost you.
You have that kind of like small fence that's like the small metal rolled fence that's around the property, and sure enough, it kind of like cling, 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 just a little bit. It's like a very soft ting. It's not very loud. It's not hollow, so it's just kind of like a little bit of a thud, click. And yeah, it's easy enough to hold, but it's you can kind of spend your time doing that and kind of occupy your mind, just something to do, something with your hands, something to get your mind off the morning. How do you all sleep before going out on this recon mission? Like, it's been a pretty chill week, right? Like, you knew this was coming at some point. You knew you were going to start taking action, but how do things the night before feel for y'all?
I know Sierra is very restless and very stressed and concerned because last time she said everything's going to be fine. They weren't so fine. But she, she really is hopeful. And she's also concerned about that vision she saw. Right. Yeah. So she's just really hoping that they're able to get to the bottom of this situation.
Mm-hmm. What about Umiko and Fen?
Fen gets back late. Just walked around till I got tired.
I could probably stayed where she was.
Just sleep in the pond.
Yeah, whether it's half in, whether she's half in, or she sort of pulled half out to just lay on Brund, who may have settled behind her.
Gosh,
I see that. I'm bringing you a blanket.
You'll probably see that just for sleep.
Just passed out, just well, I guess she's comfortable. Don't catch cold, please.
She's probably asleep when you've actually done that, so she won't register it. She's at her most comfortable in the water. So
that water
seems peaceful, so I'm not disturbing that.
Yeah, it's probably really terrifying to anyone else if they just see her drifting in a pond, but everyone else is it's fine, she's fine.
How about Skylar? How you feeling?
I think most of the other nights up to this point, Skylar has been sleeping pretty well. This is a surprisingly cushy place to sleep for her. Probably been some of the best rest she's gotten in a very long time, actually. But tonight is very different. I think she not only is she not really sleeping very well, but I think she actually spends way too late kind of going through her bag, going through it again, going through it one more time, making sure everything's there and everything's full, writing notes in her notebook, just kind of repeatedly checking everything. And maybe she'll even lay down to sleep. And then a few minutes later she gets back up and she checks everything again. And she can't help but kind of stare at this skin sample that she basically had, trying to figure out what to do with it. And I think eventually she just kind of slowly wears herself out. Probably spends some time just actually leaning with her back up against the wall, studying the Dynama in the room and how it looks around her resting companions, and the colors and the comfort that she gets from that probably puts her to sleep.
The Dynama around sleeping people is generally very peaceful. Just the way it hovers around them, it's generally very calm. Mare went to sleep so fast, so there's that was, he basically finished eating, then he was cool night, and rolled over, went to bed, and the Dynama around him is peaceful, calm, still. Magda stayed up a little while longer working on sharpening her knives, but once she kind of finished that, she also drifted off, a little more restless, but the Dynama still around her, still. After a while, that stillness is enough for you to feel still and peaceful as well. As you all drift off to sleep, Umiko in the pond, and the rest of you in the cabin, and wake up as Magda kind of raps against one of the metal walls. It's a little bit before dawn. It's very early. And she raps on the metal and says, "All right, time to start getting ready."
Don't you know a woman needs her beauty rest?
Don't you know that the patrol leaves soon?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And Mare is grumpy too. Like, he is for sure, like, does the... No, stop. No.
5 more minutes.
5 more minutes. I just want to sleep for 5 more minutes. And she kind of like with her toe kind of kicks him a little bit, not like in his side or anything. That's still hurting, but she kicks his legs a little bit until he begrudgingly gets up.
To see Umiko walking back towards the hut, like, oh, okay. Okay, are we going now? Like, wringing her hair out a little bit.
Doesn't do much. Her hair is pretty damp
It's
generally
damp all
anyway.
the time, but this is like sopping. It's just
Right.
whatever.
Get the excess water out of there.
And Skylar, you were up late last night. You were making a ruckus. Are you gonna have enough energy today?
I mean, I'll worry about me. I'm fine. You worry about you. I've spent whole nights just taking care of people with like missing feet. I can deal with a couple hours of sleep.
Okay, if you get tired, I'll put you on Grund.
Or we could not do that. I would be okay with not doing that. And she like backs away from Umiko.
Who is smiling really awkwardly at her.
I'm good with walking. You know, maybe I can carry the frog for a while. It'll be fine.
He is a good support frog.
Slimy but cute.
Like
Magda's
me.
kind of like, Umiko, slimy but cute.
That's better than my tag.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Like me.
Magda is already has a pack over her shoulder and like has a little crown around her head, actually, the same kind that the patrol generally wears. And she's waiting at the door and just kind of is like, is there anything else you all need? Breakfast?
I mean, I wouldn't say no to food.
It's not like a lot. It's like nuts and berries. The real breakfast isn't done yet.
Walk with it.
I can walk and eat, I guess. If that's what we're doing. I'm accommodating.
Yeah. Do you need anything else or are you ready to go? And Magda does kind of look directly at you, Sierra.
You look at me as if I'm a fuss. I am very flexible. I'm ready to go at a moment's whim.
Oh, I was
me.
checking. You're usually up doing your hair when I leave, so.
Oh yes. And right now, Sierra's hair is actually looking a little bit more matted than usual, but she's like kind of wrapping her head today, so to hide the hair.
Yes,
So.
yes, of course. So Magda kind of nods and she says, "Okay, I'll go grab us some food and we'll head out in about 5 minutes."
Bring in my cloak because it's probably cold.
It is. It's a little brisk.
Probably put something on a bit more than this. She's gonna look around for like just a blanket or a cloak. First of all, she'll find one and put it over Brun before she adjusts everything on there, and then she'll find one for herself.
Yeah, you have some blankets, generally, because they were supplied. It just gets a little bit chill at night, especially. The day is not so bad. It's the evening and the early before dawn that's really just kind of the chill wind. And so Brune, definitely this blanket covers him very easily. And I'm also kind of imagining, and if I'm wrong, please feel free to correct me, but I imagine Umiko gets this blanket and just like puts it over her
It
head.
is over her head. You literally just see this much of her face as she sort of waits for breakfast.
Cozy.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Magda comes back and has kind of these small pouches. They're not like in a plate, but it's like some dried fruits and nuts, and passes them out to each of you and just says, "Ready?"
How very method of you. And I think Skylar kind of got up, sass Sierra, because what else do we do? But she takes off the blazer and like folds it really nicely and like sticks it on like her bedroll so that it doesn't come, so she doesn't want it to get messed up. And then and puts on like her old sweater.
So you've decided to go back to the old stuff, I see. You weren't fond of your new blazer?
I don't want it. No, I do like it. I just don't want it to get all messed up when we're in the woods.
Yeah. Okay. If that's what you want to go with, I'll take your word for it, I guess.
I mean, you should. When have I lied to you?
Well, you never know nowadays in this economy.
I know. No, I didn't want to tell you that I liked it because I didn't want you to get it because I felt like you swindled that lady, but I do like it. That's why I don't want to take it with me to get cut up in the woods or some craziness.
And because died, like.
Well, I appreciate that you like it, and
we're waiting outside.
I'm gonna get more clothes when I get the opportunity to, so that way you don't feel limited in options.
I appreciate you appreciating me. Okay, let's go.
Excuse me, I'm getting cold out here. Can we move now?
And at that point, I'm gonna wrap my arms around Umiko and give her lots of I'm gonna like channel my warmth.
Yeah, she does that sort of. Oh, that's okay.
And it kind of smells a little toasty too. Like, it smells like the winter time when you first turn on like
I start to steam
the hotter.
Because I've got water. I just sit there and I start to steam.
Yeah. Also, mind you, while you guys are all like bundled up, like Sierra's still wearing like her like next to nothing dress and like she's feeling very comfortable. So.
And as they go outside, Skylar gives Brune a wide berth. There is noted distance.
He sort of snorts and you just see that steam erupt from his nostrils as you get closer. He doesn't dislike you, he's just finding it funny.
Skylar just doesn't trust him. First he tried to bite her and then poke her with his antlers, and then he dropped her.
Oh yeah, no, Brune is terrifying.
He's a good boy.
So, as you, Magda introduces you to the group. Brief, short. Hey, I'm hopping into this patrol today. I've already talked to Bastion about it. They're gonna come along, try to take some notes on the decay, see if the information helps them at all. And everyone seems generally in agreement to that, so they set off, and the sun slowly rises above the trees, and you can see as the trees start to clear out, you see those ruins that you walked through last week. Oh my gosh, we hit our sub goal. Heck yes! Let me roll for another trinket.
Oh, the trinkets.
So I don't know what that was. That's my sub goal dance.
That was my frog, sorry.
Oh, is that was my support frog dance. And you start, you see the sun start peeking up above the ruins. It's picturesque. It's beautiful. And the chill starts to leave the air as you work your way through, and you recognize some of it. You pass by the park where Umiko and Magda first encountered Bastion and his group. You pass through some of the neighborhoods with similar houses to the one you found yourself taking shelter in on your first day in this region. And after several hours, you find yourself at the edge of the decay. It's not the exact same spot where you have been last time, but you can see that this foot or a few feet closest to you seems fresher. There's an acrid smell in the air, and you can taste the ash on your tongue.
Well, here we are.
It's lovely.
That's not the word I'd use.
The patrol keeps moving along the side of the decay, giving it a wide enough berth. They give it a few feet as well, just because none of them particularly want to get close enough to it to feel their lungs burn or their skin burn. And they stay just far enough away, but begin to kind of trail the edge of this burned ground.
Is it just like a continuation of the same like forest, but like dead or charred or whatever?
So,
if we look like into
a lot of it is actually the like where the old ruins were, and it's kind of like the edge of the neighborhood. It looks like there are some buildings that were engulfed by the decay and have fallen apart more. The whole ruins are in varying states of disrepair. They're not great. They're old. Y'all have no idea when, in comparison to where you're at now, these ruins in these cities existed, but they're ancient and very run over. This is worse. You see that same scorched kind of effect. Actually, as Fen, you noticed on the metal rod you found last night, like as if something has genuinely burned here, but there's no fire, no flames, nothing, no ashes still glowing orange. It just looks like it burnt.
Makoa's walking past will pick up a stick and just put it into the decay, just hold it halfway to see what happens.
How big's your stick?
Oh, she's gonna pick a long stick. She's not gonna need this.
a good yard.
This is a branch.
Yeah, I go and
This is a
snap
whole
a branch. Like,
Yeah. Do you like walk with it, just kind of sticking in the decay a little bit, or do you just
Yeah.
like stand there and hold it like you're
well, she
roasting
starts
marshmallows?
off standing, and then if it doesn't break immediately, she'll start to walk.
Okay. Yeah, so as you start to walk, it does not break immediately. But as you start to walk with this stick just sticking in the decay, it takes a few minutes, but you see the edge start to smolder. It doesn't burn. It just smokes. And you see it starting to blacken at the end.
And if any of you can hear Makoa, you're close, you just hear just like, oh, that's interesting. She's more talking to herself than anything else. Just
Kind of look over and just like fast.
it burns with no flame.
What happens if you get it wet first?
Hang on.
Does it last longer?
I will try. And from where she's holding it, from her fingertip, you see the water start to run up. And then she puts it back.
in the decay again.
Again, a few minutes pass before you really start to see much of an effect, but you start to see steam as the water begins to evaporate where the decay is affecting the stick.
And she'll just drop it as I imagine her fingertips are still sort of effectively connected to the water start to get hot.
This is strange stuff we're dealing with.
Magda kind of walks over and just, do you want to stick around here? Are you wanting to walk around the edge with the patrol? I ought to let them know if they should leave us here and go on, or if we want to go on with them.
Are there any visible landmarks ahead?
Like, nearby, or like in the direction y'all were walking?
In the direction we were walking, or like in either in the decay or like on around the decay, like in the direction we're walking.
So yes. So the way this city has fallen into the decay, you see some of the taller buildings well behind you on the horizon. The tall buildings that you found yourself surrounded by when you first landed through the Dynama in this area. And these houses are nearby, not far, this neighborhood, but not far ahead of you, there's a big and rusted machine. Not like the mechs that you encountered before. This is one of the machines from the old world. Big, rusted metal, 4 wheels, glass windows. Almost like a cart. But like metal, though.
Dirty. Is there anything like in the air? Like, so there's no ashes or anything, but is there any kind of like smoke or anything obscuring kind of our vision into like the distance as it gets further into the decay?
Yeah, so go ahead and I'm gonna have you roll me a perception check to see further into the decay.
Okay.
3 dice, looking for 3s and 6s.
Nice.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's a success. Do you want to re-roll that 6 just to see?
Sure.
Cool beans. Close but no cigar. So, yeah, you look into the decay. And there's nothing in the air. No clouds, no nothing. You do see machines similar to the machines that you saw here a week ago that seem to be on some kind of patrol route. Trackers generally are the closest ones to you, but you can make out shapes farther in the distance that seem to be machines of other varieties, though it's hard to say exactly what they are from where you're at. However, as you're kind of scanning through the decay, you see one machine that does stand out to you. You're pretty confident it wasn't here last week, the last time you were here. And it's far. It's hard to make out any details about it, and probably you wouldn't think much of it, except you saw this machine a week ago in Mellowary. It's tall, sort of rectangular, with long, chain-like appendages. And a lot of guns.
Grab onto like whoever is closest, I guess. Just like there's a real bad one in there.
Yomiko drops the stick. What do you mean really bad?
You know, the real big machine that we had zero chance of fighting and ran away from in Mallory.
I do. That one's here?
I doubt it's the same one.
Has it seen us?
I don't think so. I don't think it's one of the ones that really goes looking.
Then we should probably keep moving. Not give it a cause to attack.
I'm just gonna kind of pass that along to Magda and maybe Patrol when we catch up. Like, see if they've seen anything like that before. If I can point it out.
Yeah, you pointed out, and they're a little stunned. They don't recognize the machine and hadn't noticed it on the horizon before. One of them suggests either it moves and hasn't been here when they've been on patrol, or someone missed it because it's far away and unusual and unrecognizable. Unless you've had up-close experience, as you have.
All I can say is I have no idea how to fight that.
Then we don't.
Not have a choice.
Why wouldn't we have a choice? We're over here. Well, oh no, wait, never mind. We decided we're gonna save the world. Got it. I'm on the same page.
Get with the program.
Mare makes just a face at you.
Onwards.
Yeah, you continue traveling around the decay. Yes, sorry.
And I think while they're kind of skirting around the edge of this space, Skylar is looking at the Dynama, trying to see if she can find anything, maybe like a larger spiky section that might be like a big problem over here, or kind of like a trail that she had seen before that brought them to the decay in the first place.
Okay, let's say that would be a perception check.
I'm gonna, because we're looking for 3s and 6s, right?
3s and 6s.
I'm going to reroll.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that'll bring that up to a success. You can reroll again just to, yeah. Okay. Close enough. By that I mean it still succeeds. And you're looking for paths in the Dynama? So
Kind of like signs, like anything that's like big scary thing this way.
Okay, so what you find is not a trail like you saw the other day. In fact, that if it were still here beyond leading you here in the first place, it is long gone. However, as you kind of look closer to how the Dynama reacts near the decay, you see that it sparks and spikes a bit at the very, very edge where you can see the burn on the ground, but between that burn and where you're standing solidly. And it's sparking, spiking, and as you look closer, you notice that some of those places where the colors are too bright and too sharp and just don't look right as you're familiar with the Dynama before, you see almost as if bits of those sparkle. Small parts of the magic, little by little, are burning themselves.
And I think the rest of the group would see her kind of very suddenly stop and almost kneel down at the very edge. And she's taking a closer look, basically because she needs to convince herself of what she's seeing. And from her crouched position, she kind of looks up at the group and she's just... It's like this disease is eating away at the Dynama too. Even the fabric of the world, it's not just the things in the world that are burning, it's the very fabric of it woven together with the Dynama.
That sounds bad.
Accurate. I think we need to get a hold of one of those machines. One of the aggressive ones.
How do we do that?
I mean, maybe if we can find one of the ones that are patrolling, they have patterns that they walk. We can catch it. I don't know. Fen, you're the machine expert.
Fen?
Is it alive or what?
For at least,
as it can be.
I mean, I'd like to get a good look at one that's still got a little bit of a kick to it, but you can kill it right after I get a look at it.
Just want a bit of it.
I mean, we had bits before, and they weren't really giving us a whole lot, because they were charred and destroyed bits. I mean, I need to get a look, and I need to see if this disease is affecting the machines, too.
I mean, we can lure one out. Do you need it to be still? That might be a problem, but...
No, I just need to get to see it from a closer distance than, this big old drop we've got.
I could get it to chase me.
That seems dangerous.
I got a fast run. Like, sort of like pats run.
Yeah, maybe pick one that doesn't have guns.
That would be preferable. I can weave, but I don't know how much.
Okay, just Are we gonna try and find one that's not in the decay, or are we gonna try and get one of those that's like, you know, Mari kind of points out, and there's a few trackers that are like nearby. Not close, but like nearby enough.
Question.
Well, I don't know if the. Well, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, question. Like, does the behavior of the ones in the decay, from what we can see, does it look like they're behaving any differently from ones outside of the decay?
From what you can see, no.
Okay. That was it. Yeah, so like what are like the nearest machines?
The nearest machines are absolutely the ones in the decay, the ones you can see. They're trackers. There are a couple of them. A handful, really. And some of them are you know, one's close-ish to you. Maybe like a couple dozen yards out. Then the others are doing similar patrols just within the decay and further away from you.
Yeah, so the ones outside of the decay may not have the disease just because they're outside of it, right?
Well, then there are the ones that attacked Mellowary, which were not in the decay, but somehow I feel that they're related. Unless that's a crazy conspiracy.
Well,
I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around all of this. I'm sorry. It seems incoherent, but it seems connected, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, they're weirdly aggressive machines, weirdly aggressive hole in the ground. That seems like a theme.
Why did someone ride them?
How did someone ride them?
Maybe they let it.
Oh boy.
We have a lot of questions, and then there's only one way to get answers. We either get one of those machines out here, or, well, that's all I can think of, so...
Trouble might begin with just one. Those ones tend to go in packs.
Well, I have the utmost confidence on Fenn's fighting abilities.
Yeah, when I'm like at my halfway point, I feel good.
Have y'all continued to walk along the decay here?
I think so.
Walking and talking.
You notice a figure at the edge of the decay, and at first it looks like maybe it could be fallen concrete or burned wood, like a lot of the landmarks in the decay are. But then you realize that there is a body at the edge of the decay. It's little more than bones at this point, and the bones themselves too look charred. There's very little fabric left. In fact, the only fabric really that remains is outside of the decay itself, and it looks like the decay is slowly but surely taking this body over. But you recognize the color of the fabric. It's the same red that the rider of the machine was wearing a week ago. The one that attacked the encampment.
don't know if this will work, but I'm gonna go up to the body and attempt to touch it and like see if that triggers anything.
Sure. Okay. This is also, thank you so much for 20 retreats. Heck yes. I'm gonna roll another trinket because, oh, why not? Also, that's because also that's how this works. Thanks, y'all. Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. Let's roll for this. Let's do a base Brooks roll to like try and see an image from this dead person. So base roll of 3, depending, and we're looking for 2s and 6s.
And then can I add my talent to like see?
Just the 3.
Just the 3.
Yeah, just the 3 for now.
Okay.
You pushing your hand into the decay?
It's on the border of the decay, right?
It is. Mm-hmm. Very edge.
Even if it was in the decay, I'd put my hand into the decay.
Most of it's in the decay. It's like got a foot or 2 out.
It's got a toe.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hold on. I got this. You reach down and you're touching the part that's out of the decay, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So you reach down and this kind of touch the toe of this figure, whatever remains inside that boot you may not want to know, but you touch this skeleton, the very edge of it, the bone under your fingertips, and you get a strange flash unlike any flash you have gotten before. You've noticed that your snapshots have become more like scenes in recent days. In fact, there are very few people you've touched recently where you have seen the snapshots. It happens occasionally, intermittently, but like, for the most part, you have started seeing scenes. And thank you so much, Wild Engineer, for this reroll for Skylar. That is awesome and totally helps us tell our story, so thank you. This is not a scene. This is not a snapshot either. It's muddied and gray and blurry and unclear in ways that you have not seen before. As you see the very edge of this scene, the edge starts to burn red, and the gray and the blur burns away before your eyes, and you see foggy but there a person, humanoid shaped, not incredibly sickly from whatever you can tell. It's far, it's strange, this almost like looking through water. And you see the shape of that same machine you met in Mellowary just beyond them, as if they're looking towards it. Its long, spindly legs holding it aloft, and its red lenses glowing. And as the image continues to burn away, it is gone, and you can see clearly again.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Team. That mech in the decay, that same mech that we saw in Mellowary, whether or not it's actually the same mech. I think it's important. There's a, what just happened? Oh, raid.
We got
Raid.
it back.
I was like, something's happening. What's happening? Okay. Hi,
Also
raid.
important. Thank you, Raiders.
So where were we? Okay. Yes, this mech seems important and connected to all of this somehow. I don't know why, but this person was connected to that mech somehow. I gotta say, I know it would be a mistake, but I'm finding hard to restrain myself just from running in there right now and figuring all this out. I feel like all the answers are in there in that freaking wasteland, and we're just walking around this border like there must be something more we can do. We're wasting time, and this is going to expand, and who even knows if in other towns right now there are mechs invading and attacking, and it could be more than just Mellowary, and we have to do something.
Yeah, I don't think that running into the decay is probably the best idea.
I know.
So I think that would be you. For long.
Yeah.
And then who's left to save the world?
I would love to save the world, if I'm being honest.
All right. Skylar, do you want one of them to look at? Give it the runaround.
Well, maybe we need to find these red guys first.
I can't see any of them, but I can see mechs. I don't know how much time we have. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I see one, I'll get him for you.
Okay. Yeah. Let's investigate the mechs then.
Okay.
Fair warning to our scouting party, I guess. Like, hey, we're about to draw attention to ourselves. The thing you typically don't do.
Yeah, are you going through Magda?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm not gonna approach the
I think.
She's a bit bewildered, but she kind of goes and talks to the patrol in hushed tones, and they nod. They're a bit confused too, but they actually take up positions aside from some of the nearby buildings or leftover machines, and hide themselves from view.
And Umiko will get on to Brun.
Do any of us have a bow?
I was about
For
to say,
any kind of range?
gonna, throw a stick at it. She's got a staff.
I mean, I'm not sure how far they are. They're
Yeah.
kind of a little far to throw something, but
Yeah, how far are they?
Too
stick
far to
range?
throw. Yes.
but they might hear that. But
Probably too far away for that too, though I love it because it does harken back to the game one of the games this game is based on.
Throw a rock.
Just-
Throw a rock, get a machine's attention. What up? Yeah. Yeah, but I think they're too far away to do that.
What do you want me to do?
What about the whistle thing? Can anybody whistle?
Actually,
I
I love
can
that anyone said
glow.
probably would. That Emiko would probably.
Mako, I think
Are there
I
any
will-
suspicious red patches of grass we can hide in?
Ah.
Emiko probably would have a small wooden whistle like around her neck because of the reindeer.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm tickled by the suspiciously red patches of grass.
I never understood why they're all red.
Remind
What's
me
your
to write
fear?
suspiciously red patches of grass into this game. Please. Thanks. Cool.
And Emiko takes the whistle and is like, I could use this. I don't know what it's gonna do. I don't know if they'll respond, but they'll definitely know where we are.
And they'll probably see you. I think the rest of us should at least take some cover.
Yeah, Mare and Magda nod and take cover similarly to the rest of the patrol.
How much time you need, Skylar?
Not long. I mean, basically, you guys, if you can get it over here, you guys can start killing it while I'm looking from a close distance and too close a distance. Oh, this is a bad idea.
Well, that's what we got.
Okay, does that mean we're ready?
Yeah.
Okay. And Emiko Bryn trots her around so that she's in closest line of like sort of eyesight of this machine. And she looks at each of you briefly before just taking this whistle out and blowing. And she won't stop until it looks at her.
It does. It looks up and its lens latches on you, this red light glowing behind it, and it starts lumbering towards you quickly.
She's gonna wait till it gets a little bit closer, as close as possible, before she has to bolt.
It lumbers close, and then it's right up on you, and it's looking like it's going to leap at you. It starts to crouch as if it's going to spring.
And she sort of bends up and, okay, now! And she just like slaps Bryn and just takes off.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll me a dexterity check, please.
Okay.
We'll go ahead and make this a challenge of 2, so you can add whatever talents you would like.
Okay, so what can I actually do? I've got animal instinct, so animal-like references. Check my reference. Reflexes! And I also have a 6th sense for danger.
Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and add those 2.
Okay. $23.
Yeah. So you can re-roll all of those 6s, please. 3d6. Since the 6s are the weave symbol and they explode.
Another 2.
Jeez.
Oh, it goes
Alice.
fast.
No matter what
Flies
you roll,
away.
if you roll those 6s, this is an epic success, which means I turn the story over to you for a little bit so that you can describe to me and everyone listening and your party who is all waiting with bated breath how this plays out.
So, does this thing jump?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she sees it jump and she watches it briefly, and she's actually timing the shadow, seeing it come over her before leaping at the last minute and weaving in between the legs. and not darting away, she's trying to keep it in the same area. She's literally weaving in and out of the legs, sort of circling it more than anything. And she forgets to say anything. She's literally just talking to Brun, and every time it swings out, if it's trying to like sort of scoop her, she's just laying as low as she can.
Mm-hmm. You dart around this mech, and it is upset as far as machines can get upset, because it is like swinging its lens around at you, trying to keep its eye on you, trying to lash out at you with these like bladed weapon like arms and this long powerful metal tail, and it's just not able, oh my gosh, it can't get you.
She might just pull up and be like, Fen? Just because she sort of knows Brun is going to get tired. Not for a while, but...
I think at a moment when it looks like it is the most distracted by and frustrated by, like, stomping around after Umiko, that's when I would try and dart in and take a swing. That works every time.
Yeah, so Umiko's doing good enough at dodging that Umiko's not much of a concern, but we'll go ahead and do a stones challenge of 2 here to see how well you incapacitate this machine.
And again, I'm just going to like try and slow it down, keep it from jumping. These ones, I think I have an idea of like where their kind of weak spots are because I've dealt with them before.
Yes.
So I think that would go along with like, let's see, one of these traits. Let's see, the battling soul one is good. Where you just kind of walk away, but they don't. Let's see. The wired up one, which involves breaking machines apart, starting from experiences with them, and having the weapon definitely adds to it. So that takes it to 6.
Yep. I will go ahead and rule all of those in favor.
Nice.
Heck yes. Okay, reroll those 6s, please. And the 4s are stones, so not an epic success, but a success all the same. And you are able... How are you trying to incapacitate this machine?
I'm going for not so much joints, but like things that I don't know would move the joints.
Moving
like
parts. Mhm.
Yeah, the moving parts, like the equivalent of like muscle, sinew kind of things that would like, I don't know, give it motion.
Yeah.
Specifically like hind legs, just so that it can't do any more jumping or going super fast.
Yeah, I mean, it primarily has, like, powerful hind legs and not a ton else. It looks like it has, like, little bitty tiny arms with these little blades on them, a little bit like a little T-Rex. It's fine. And, yeah, you are able to, with your arm, as you leap in, Umiko is dodging around, and you take this lash at these moving mechanical muscles of this creature, and as you just completely take out part of the leg, the machine falls on its side. The other leg is still moving, trying to gain traction, but it's looking around, its lenses flaring. It cannot seem to get back up on its feet after that.
Be like, Skylar.
And I think as all of this is going on, Skylar is trying to read the Dynama in in the mech, or around the mech, and seeing if it looks different than that of the many other machines that she's come across. And she might actually even try and kind of call out things to Fen that she's seeing, hoping that Fen might notice if there's something odd.
I think that will be an intelligence challenge of 2 to see if you can investigate, if you will, any strange magic.
Okay. So then I get a +1, because it's an intelligence challenge, because it's flames.
Mhm.
And then this will be the clear intent. So Dynama reacts to the people and things it surrounds. I'm skilled at interpreting the meaning of those reactions. And so that's 5.
Yep.
5d6.
Okay, you have 2 successes, which is a success. So, as you investigate this machine, you're struck by several realizations. You've not seen a ton of machines before, but the Dynama is not reacting to this machine the same way it reacts to the decay. In fact, overall, the machine is fine. It has no scorch marks, it's not singed at all. It seems to be perfectly normal, almost like new. And as you're watching the Dynama, it reacts normally to this machine, just the same way it did in Mellowary, the same way it did the other night at the encampment. It's normal.
And I think Skylar would just call out to the rest of the group. She's like, I got what I need.
Would you like me to melt its face off?
Now would be a good time for that.
Is that really the most effective?
Probably not. Fen, you got this.
Like, you took out this leg, and then what'd you do?
I just kind of like stayed on hands, just like. I mean,
Hey, y'all. Let me know just when you want me to kill it.
Yeah.
Cool?
I don't imagine it took that long for her to take a look. Just like,
Yeah, it didn't. It did not. It's passed in the span of a few seconds.
Will Smith poses at the machine. Alright, well, I suppose I will finish the job if we have nothing left to do with it.
Yeah, I think we play off the success before. It's incapacitated. It's an easy kill. How do you do it?
I feel like there's probably a way to do that with like the least damage to the really valuable parts, like the lenses and parts, like cores and stuff. Like, go for I really don't know mechanics. Ben does, I don't. I guess what would be the equivalent of what worked before was just pulling out the cord. So Let's do that.
Sure. Yeah. You know it. You pull that out, and it unhooks, and the light behind the lens dies, and the machine stops moving.
Have we drawn the attention of anything else?
It doesn't seem to be. Umiko's whistle has not reached their sensors.
However it is they do that.
What do machines have? Yeah. No, they seem normal.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm gonna salvage what I think might be useful.
Mhm.
That's what I do.
Go ahead and roll me quick intelligence check to see how much you get away with.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Nice.
This is like the best haul you've had from a tracker in a while. Yeah, you are able to, if you want to roll those again just to see, you can.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and you can tell me what all you get off of this machine. If you want to in very general terms, that's okay too.
Yeah, I think as far as like core, I feel like a lot of the I don't know, like casing type thing, like larger pieces of metal that are almost like shield type stuff. I feel like that would be useful for either armor type stuff or reinforcing buildings, as we've seen. Kind of like intact wire bits, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're able to, yeah, you get all of that. That's great. Sure, go for it. And you're left with this salvaged machine. It's a few leftover parts that you know won't have any worth and don't function without the machine itself. And the patrol comes out of hiding. Did you get what you need, Skylar?
Yeah, wasn't what we expected. But it seems like the decay isn't bothering the machines at all, so I have no idea why they're being extra aggressive and we really have no new answers. But thanks.
Huh. It's not affecting them at all?
Not from what I could tell. I mean, I'm not a machines expert. I haven't spent that much time around them. But, I mean, there is no obvious...
I mean, it's real clean.
Yeah, I mean, it's not burning like anything else in there. I wonder if we covered ourselves in metal. No, that wouldn't work.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I'm brainstorming. When you brainstorm, you come up with the worst ideas first, and then hopefully you end up with a good idea at the end.
Mare jabs Magda in the arms, like, yeah, Magda.
Yeah, Magda.
Yeah, Magda.
Emma's just looking at you all like tending to her and like. And she's probably like stretching her leg out a little bit. This is the first time she's actually done anything a bit more rigorous with it, but trying not to make it obvious.
Yeah, then I'll kind of like check in at some point. Maybe not like noticing this in particular, but just like after whatever they're doing. It's like...
Whatever, like, yeah, Emiko's more looking at them confused while she's like doing her leg, if anything.
Okay.
Magda kind of, is frowning and everyone's teasing her a little bit. She's fine. Well, okay, what do we do next then, Skylar?
Why do I have to be the one to come up with all the ideas?
I don't know. You just came up with the metal one. I thought you were going to try and redeem yourself or something.
I mean, hasn't, saving lives given me some kind of bonus points to start with?
Emiko like puts her head sort of into Bryn's neck, like, don't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. Like she's trying to hide that she's laughing at this situation.
Well, if anything, I just have more questions. Because, I mean, my theory before was that the mechs were directly connected to the to words that the mechs were directly connected to the decay, but now it seems like they're totally independent of each other, which just cancels everything I was speculating before.
Well, maybe not. If this one's kind of new looking, and there's more of them around than people have seen before, what's to say they're not coming from here? Like, more of them.
Like a factory.
We don't know where they come from. They've just always been here. Doesn't seem to matter how many we take down, more of them just show up.
That's terrifying.
We could try to find out. I wouldn't know where to start, but we could try to find out.
Maybe the burning is like the...
Like a radiation?
Yeah, like the the scraps of yarn that are left over when you're done knitting. Or the metal flakes from hammering nails, right?
Do you mean debris?
Yeah. I'm a doctor, not a mechanic.
The residue, what's left over.
I am neither of these things. And I take out the frog.
That's an
What does the frog say?
Yeah, what do you say?
I'm gonna have to touch that frog at some point, by the way.
I want to know it's only your life story, little frog.
It's just going to be him having a lovely day until this weird girl comes in and takes it.
It's like a vision of just like that one time when it ate that one fly while it was sitting on that one lily pad.
Real good.
Like real juicy stuff happening on Dynama on Wednesday nights,
This show is really about the frog.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
The patrol kind of comes and touches base, and they explain that this is generally as far as they'd go. They have to still make it home in time for things to get dark, and ask if there's anything else you'd wanted to check before heading back to the camp.
An idea I was having was if we wanted to get like a higher view. I don't know how tall and or intact the ruins around, like on the not decayed part side of the border. If there would be any way to get high enough to really see kind of more of an overview.
Yeah. So there's
Or
nothing
trees.
particularly high where you're at. There's a few trees here and there, and then the neighborhood houses are generally shorter. Off in the distance you can see the taller buildings of the city proper, but they are a bit farther away and out of your way, the wrong direction. You think maybe you could get a vantage point and see more of the decay from there, but it's hard to say without being up there yourself.
Right. It would probably be a task for another day. But if we're heading back this way, or that way, rather, we could do that.
I just feel like before we leave here, we should have some idea of a next step. So we don't have to come back out here again and spend another day.
I guess I thought that the recon mission was first step. Yeah, I mean, we still have stuff back at the cabin. We can regroup there, have a meal, and Mari's stomach growls as if to accentuate that. I mean, I'm not saying that we have to, but it's still gonna be here tomorrow. If anything, it may have grown by then. If we think we got all we can from scientific purposes, maybe we can...
I think maybe finding those... I don't know what to call them, the people that have spent a lot of time in there and seemed intent on killing us the other day.
The people with the red scarves.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we regroup?
In there or somewhere else. Maybe someone else has seen them before.
What if we go back, we regroup, there's supposed to be people coming into town, we can chat with them, and then we can climb a ruin tomorrow, or maybe the day after. Oh boy. Hold on, actually, I have one more idea, though. And I think Skylar would go around kind of picking up some, like, loose machine parts, maybe, and she'd want to, like, line them up right along the edge of the decay. And she's like, markers! We come back, we see where the machine parts are later, we see how much it's advanced.
No, that's really good. And we can always come back later if we need to, you know, like it's a hike, but we know where it is and we're not camped too far from it.
Well, and then I'm sure, patrols come out here semi-regularly. They can just check it for us.
That's definitely true too. I mean, assuming you don't need me for anything tomorrow. We'll talk when we get back. But I can always go out on the patrols too and try and check space myself.
It's a step.
Baby steps, I guess. Baby steps. That's what they say. Baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean we're going back now?
I think so.
Good. I'm starving.
Mari just, looks at you. You get me.
I do.
And the group the patrol turns back towards the camp. It takes a good amount of time. I mean, you've spent most of the day traveling to get here, the early morning to noon, spending some time out by the decay itself and walking along its edge. And then it takes the same amount of time to get back. It's late afternoon, the sun is starting to go down. The sky is beginning to grow darker as you make your way back to the encampment. And even though the sun is still setting, and now the sky is alight with a range of colors, the camp is already lit up. A number of wagons are parked intermittently around the cabins as you approach. And there are new people, new faces. The traders are here. You see people greeting each other. You see friends hugging. You see an exchange of goods and the sharing of food. And if you could all roll me a perception check, I would very much appreciate it.
I think because Umiko's still not great with large crowds, she will just pause, like hesitate a tiny bit.
Yeah. Okay. Sierra and Skylar. You see one person embrace Naomi. And at the same time, you both recognize who it is. Sierra, you've seen this woman twice now in your visions whenever you brush someone's skin. And Skylar, you've seen this woman many more times than that. You grew up with her. You recognize your sister, Shyla. And that's where we're gonna end Dynama today. Hey, hey!
Yay!
Happy
I need next week for the drama!
We're gonna be here again next week so that we can play all of that out. Oh my gosh, y'all, I love this game
People
so
time.
freaking much.
Umiko is not gonna know what to do with drama because she's never had any of it other than that weird woman next door.
My face today, I felt like I was making DM faces. Like, I feel like a DM, y'all. Like, I feel like a storyteller.
You are.
Ah.
You should feel like a DM storyteller.
It's wild. It's so wild. It's a very cool feeling. Y'all are just making this story so, like, I can't think of the word rewarding to tell. And I'm very excited about what's ahead. So, to close this out, we're going to go around and we're going to talk about, shoot, I forgot to host the show on my Twitch channel. Nah, whatever. I'm sorry. I meant to. Busy day, I guess. We're gonna go around and we're gonna talk about like what our favorite part was about today, as well as where we can find you on the internet and what other projects you're involved in. And we're gonna go ahead and start with Julie. What was your favorite part?
Oh, there was some really good, just like Sierra going around town being Dynama Oprah is probably my favorite. I was just like dying laughing. So that's great. Subscribe to my newsletter. What a blessing. I love Sierra so much. Yeah, there were some real good moments, but I like the fact that we're moving, doing stuff, and like more questions to answer our other questions that we thought that we would have answers to. The mystery demons.
I know the answers.
Well, yes, I would hope so.
It's a fun place to be in. It's very fun. I was smirky a lot today. Where can we find you, Julie?
I am at JGrieve Art just about everywhere on social media. I mostly do art. I yell about D&D and now other RPGs that I've been introduced to through this lovely channel. And I also do costuming stuff, and that is all at Narendor. Looks like narrator, but it's not. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Heck yeah, rockin'. Y'all were on fire today with all of those questions, answering questions, getting more questions. So my question is, Skylar, played by Kelly, where can we find you? What was your favorite part?
Hi, I'm Kelly, Kelly Lane on Twitter. Sorry, I'm still reeling from that surprise at the end. I'm Kelly Lane on Twitter. You can find me here Tuesdays and Wednesdays on the Academy. Tuesdays, same time. We play Curse of Strahd. Things are getting dicey, and we are in the middle of a training montage led by Mordenkainen. So that's where we're at there. Saturdays, you can find me on Wandering DM, playing in a Pulp Cthulhu game set in Four Corners, New Mexico. Highly recommend. You can check out my pinned tweet on Twitter for my full schedule, including the fact that I'll be running a Call of Cthulhu game on Sunday on Other Doc's channel, where that will be taking place in an unnamed Swedish furniture store. It'll be an interesting time. Haven't planned it yet. Favorite part today? Oh, there's so many. I love the frog. I love the frog. Actually, okay. Here's the thing. My honest opinions. My favorite part about stream today was the Zoom chat.
Which you might can have access to Scratticus Patreon. So
yeah, we were this group of individuals is very funny. And I very much enjoyed the Zoom chat. But yeah, and Renee just dropping bombs all over the place, especially because one of Skylar's things is that she travels so much, she pretty much knows somebody everywhere she goes. So I was going to say, Skylar probably knows somebody in this trading party, and you beat me to it, and it was like the boom. Like, feelings. Okay, I'm done, I swear.
I got you. And let's hear about more feelings. Sierra, from our lovely friend who plays Sierra, Jay, what was your favorite moment? Where can we find you?
Hi. You can find me at Jagons Gold. Yeah, so many good moments. Yeah, I was after I had that vision with I'm blanking on her name. Herb Girl.
Naomi.
Naomi. When I had that vision with Naomi, and I knew that your sister was there, I was like really kind of like, oh, how can I work this into a conversation? And I didn't, but I guess that will come next week. That was like a super exciting moment for me, just to like have a secret. But yeah, there were a lot of great moments today. I think it was really badass when Umiko did like the tricks. Yeah, there was just and I really enjoyed the whole RP in the beginning with the merch and Sierra just being like a jerk. So yeah. It's fun to have an excuse to just be like kind of self-absorbed and like a jerk.
Oh no, I love how much we love Sierra, even though she is, kind of self-absorbed and a jerk. But we love her.
Right?
Thank you so much. And then I'll go ahead and wrap up and then pass it over to Alice so that she can share everything that she needs to about this beautiful, beautiful channel that we like to call home. Hi, I'm Renee. I've been your storyteller today for Weave by Monocle Society. Freaking love this game. I drew 3 cards today to help tell the story. That said, not a lot of them have come into play yet. So I'm gonna hang on to that boss card for next week. But I will go ahead and show you that the theme and location cards are the tortoise and the owl. And that is the theme is the tortoise, the location is the owl. And those may yet come into play. I had not planned for y'all to go back to the decay, which is completely fine. And so we may see some of those cards. I think I've planted some seeds for them today, and we'll see them come into play more next session. So I'd love to see you here back next week playing Weave and the Dynama playset. I love it so much. I think my favorite part today may have been slimy but cute. I actually really loved, I think Umiko was my jam today, and all of these characters are my jam at some point or another because they're all freaking fantastic. But the specific joy of Umiko today was Umiko lying in a pond and sleeping while where people could just walk by and see her floating there. And the joy of Umiko today was deciding we're done at the edge of the decay because Umiko is hungry. And Umiko is slimy but cute. Also, the moment with the blanket was very good. Yeah. Umiko moments today are my favorite part. And I love that frog. I love the support frog so much. The support frog supports me day to day and encourages me. I can be found at RayDNR on Twitter, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy a thing that I have written out into the chat so that people can find it if my computer will behave with me, but it might not. I can be found at RayDNR on Twitter. I'm a freelance writer and social media manager, and I really enjoy writing about games. You can find some of those articles at the Scratticus Academy Patreon page. They are available for free, and there's another one coming super soon that I'm very excited about, and talks a lot about viewer games for the next episode. Also, I do so appreciate the raid cries. They're both fantastic, and suspiciously red patches of grass was my other favorite part of the day. Yes, absolutely. I'm found streaming pretty regularly. I'm on Nerd Immersion on alternating Mondays playing Rise of Tiamat. I am on Encounter Roleplay playing Call of Cthulhu on Tuesdays, and I am here on Wednesday nights storytelling Dynama, and I freaking love it. It is a playset that I wrote for the game Weave by Monocle Society, and there are a ton of other playsets that are really awesome and more coming super soon. I also DM a podcast called Fate and the Fable Maidens, which is an all-women family-friendly actual play podcast, and it can be found at FateFMcast or at fatefmcast.com. I think that's it. I am grateful to do a lot of things, so thank you for listening to me talk about them. Alice!
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, there were so many good bits today, but like the imagery of scenes, I love the idea that Sierra is walking around promoting herself, that she has a newsletter, that she has like a saying and like, you know, that catchphrase. I love that image of Sierra and Skylar like arguing whilst the others are waiting to go, with Fen like trying to suit up, Umiko with her berries and her sort of blanket over her head to stay warm, and them not really understanding the argument, and it being cold in the morning and having Sierra try warm Umiko up, and of course the support frog, because everyone loves that support frog, which our wonderful Avery has drawn, so definitely go check Avery out because I've seen that frog and I love it. Other than that, I'm White Rabbit Pick, and I do lots of photos and all stuff like that. That's where you can find me on Twitter. What else do? I DM for this channel 3 times a week. I also play on this channel every day of the week. And when I'm not doing that, I'm over on Tales from the Grim for a Lady Blackbird campaign, and I'm doing something else as well, Cypher System, our Highlander campaign, where I play the Celt. So other than that,
we have a Discord, and it's full of wonderful people like you see here. So you should definitely head over there and check that out. There is a chat room specifically for Dynama if you want to go and chat theories or talk about the players, the characters, or just talk about how much you enjoy it, because we enjoy it so much. We also have YouTube, so if you haven't seen all the episodes before this, there is a playlist on our YouTube to go and have a look at. If you would like to get in a game with us, drop Scrat a message on Twitter. We do run 5 viewer games this season, but they are full now until the end of the season, and we are, I think doing 5 next season as well. So keep emailing, we will find you a game at some point. Other than that, if you would like to support us, we have a Patreon. Thank you. It's because of your support that we can do this, and as Renee said, you can find some of her articles for free over there, and they're a really good read, so definitely go check them out. We also have merch, which you can find on Redbubble, and also 2 seriously awesome sponsors in the form of Bird in the Storm and Mage Hand Press, and there's also links down below for some of our other sponsors, Tabletop Loot, Devon Rue, Ara Savad, and you can also check out our resident artist, Ambly. Other than that, thank you so much. This game makes my week every week. It's my favorite day. So yeah, I'm already excited for next week. Keep evoking emotions, everyone, and we will see you then. Bye.